Testing, testing.
What's your name, mate? Jason. I'm Kimon. Hello, Jason. How are you? Is it all yeah? It's okay with me. It's okay with you. Whatever you want, buddy.
Testing, testing.
Good afternoon, very warm welcome to Catalina Street in West Heidelberg, the Olympic Village. Storied history of this stadium dates back to before the 1956 Olympics in Melbourne, and this afternoon it's the venue for Heidelberg United Alexandra against the Bulleen Lions. It's going to be a beauty. Round 14 of the WNPL season, and we'll talk a little bit about the rivalry between the Warriors and the Lions. It's an interesting one, but Working with me in comms today for Football Victoria is the man from Football Victoria himself. I'm not sure whether to call him Your Royal Highness or Sir, or just call him plain old Kimon, because that's how I know him. But Kimon Taliadoro is CEO of Football Victoria, and hopefully we can have a look at the game, and we can also talk a little bit about what's happening with Football Victoria in some trying times with the COVID business and everything else. Kimon, hello to you.
Greg, what a pleasure to be here with you, and it's such a marvellous occasion here at this famous venue. And you talk about storied. Well, I hope the listeners and the viewers who will enjoy this game also know a little bit about you, Greg, and your storied history in the game, particularly through the old National Soccer League. Back in those days, how would you have described women's football back in the sort of the 80s and the 90s, Greg?
Well, when we said it was a game for girls, that meant exactly what it meant. There were no girls' games. It's amazing, the transformation in recent years, and I know you are, as I, a great admirer of the women's game. The WNPL here in Victoria, they play it hard. The commitment to the game is extraordinary, and you do date back. It's an interesting one. Come on, you made your debut in the National Soccer League in 1987. That was the same year I got my first TV gig with SBS, so we've got a little bit of history there. And I'll talk, a lot of people know you as the grand poobah of the game in Victoria, but they don't know the fact that you were, and I'm not going to blow smoke in any particular direction, but we will talk a little bit about the fact that in your day you were a bit of a jet, as the Bulleen Lions are vociferous and loud in their as they break from the team huddle as we prepare for the kick-off. So you and I have shared a little bit along the way, but you were much better at playing than I was. And we're just about to go get for a start. Kimon Taliadoro is with us, who is the man who makes everything happen. No, that's not fair. A man who does a lot in Victorian footy, and he's got a great history in the game.
And it's many hands that make it all work, of course, in Victorian football, in particular the volunteers, Greg, and we know that they're the ones really that hold our clubs together, that provide the support, the generous contribution to fund the activities, the facilities, the coaches often, and all that goes with that, to be able to provide the necessary structure to support incredibly talented young women here in Victoria.
I know you've got an emotional buy-in. We may talk about that a little later on, depending if you're comfortable or not. But we're in the first 60 seconds. Warriors hosting Lions. And it is the home side heading to the right of screen down toward the social club end of Olympic Village this afternoon. And the Lions, of course, in the claret, the predominantly claret colours, very famous as Morrison, the skipper, back to her goalkeeper. That's Gabrielle Garden. She's one of the veterans of the competition, 31 years old, the American, as Bulleen try to play it clear. The interesting one here, it's such a unique rivalry because the Warriors look back on Bulleen as their opponent in the Team Map Cup final in 2016. They won that 4-0. It's their last significant victory. But since the NPLW commenced in Victoria, Heidelberg has never ever beaten the Bulleen Lions in competition. 13 game span. It was 3-2 up at the Veneto Club earlier in the year. It's a beautiful afternoon for football as the ball is played out by Cadelge, and it's going to be a throw to the Warriors. Acting skipper today for Heidelberg, the smiling assassin, Ellie Torre. In the absence of Steph Galea, who of course was suspended after their game last week against, let me think, Oh yes, your old mob.
That's right. It was at Lakeside, and it was a particularly tough day for Heidelberg. In the end, South piled on the goals late in the second half. But in fairness, I think South Melbourne are an outstanding side. And of course, the week before, Calder fell to Heidelberg right here at Olympic, which was a famous victory for this club, and I think it drove some adrenaline throughout the entire women's football club here, as well as the men's club, with that achievement. Of course, Calder are the reigning NPLW and Nike Cup winners.
Well, Sydney Allen was on the move then, but that's thwarted, and Gartner will start from the social club end. South Melbourne, certainly in the women's competition this year, taking all before it. The interesting one here, the worst performance of the year was by the Warriors, 7-0 loss to South Melbourne. Oh, big turnover. Almost poked through the hole. Kayla Morrison clears it. It's been all Warriors in the opening early minutes. Anyway, Tiff Eliadis on the ball. She's a former South player. Gets the ball to the top of the area. And Ellie Torre, the acting skipper for the day and the game's record holder here at Warriors. Good on her. Look, determination. She's just got courage personified. Throw in. Bulleen on the moves. We've played a little over 3 minutes. No score in this one. Round 14, but game 10 of the season because of the COVID lockdown, as it were. So that's been an interesting time. Kim, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that. Your old club, South Melbourne. Yeah, they've been on a roll this year in the women's comp. The worst performance this year by the Warriors was that loss last week. But having said that, for Bulleen, their worst loss of the year was a 7-1 loss to the same team, South Melbourne. So they're clobbering everyone as, the opening goal, bang. Cassie Carmen just rifled that home. That was really, really poor defending by the Warriors, and she was allowed that free hit, and with the left foot she's piled it home. So Bulleen are already up by 1, and we've only played 4 minutes of footy. Well, what a blow, what a gut punch, what a whack on the jaw for the Warriors, Kim.
Yeah, it's not the start they wanted. As you said, Greg, it looked as if Heidelberg had settled in the better of the two teams for those first few minutes. But, I think it's well known that providing quality players with time and space around the box, I think at this level, more often than not, will result in the rattling of the net, and that's exactly what happened on that occasion. So it's a quick reminder to Heidelberg to be on their game and conscious of ensuring they maintain that pressure, particularly when they're not in receipt of in with the ball. And there's another turnover in midfield there, unfortunately. And Bulleen looked to be sort of playing the ball around quite nicely and managing the tempo, Greg.
Yes, indeed they are. Right now, I think they've been shot with a nerve, through the nerves by the Warriors. So threading the through ball to the top of the penalty area. Eliadis tried to force it. Here they come through Tyler. Oh, geez, I've spilt water all over the team sheet. Kim, how well am I doing? This is great stuff. Dolson. Oh, nothing changes. Dolson back to herself, hooked it back into the danger zone. Torre with their header away. It's a mad scramble and the Warriors will clear. Only just rifle shot from the angle from the top of the penalty area by Bulleen. All of a sudden they're imbued with a sense of confidence. The Warriors were very bold early doors, but Bulleen lead it, as they have done. 13 games to run. Warriors have never, in fact, only once have they scored more than a single goal against Bulleen in competition. It's been a remarkable run. The only team the Warriors have failed to beat in the competition. The Lions have owned them, and they'd like to get some payback today, but right now, Tash Stathopoulos in goal for the Warriors. She's an absolute ripper. Is Tash getting the start today. Mazel's getting a rest this weekend. Putting pressure on themselves at the moment, the Warriors. That's Shelby Green with the away. Warriors try to manoeuvre it clear. Difficult turn across the body by Danielle Wise down that left lane. Bulleen have the numbers, have the coverage. Sydney Allen tried to keep them honest. Maybe something on the break. Sydney Allen, the road runner, round the corner ball, into the penalty area. Driving after it was Taylor Schneider out of play, and they might get the footy, the Warriors. They will. We've played 7 minutes, and Bulleen lead it by Golden Hill. FV coverage, and the man who makes things tick down at football. It's really been an interesting journey, hasn't it, Kim, because you've gone on since your footy career ended to we'll just stay with the play. Oh, the hook shot was dangerous, and the goalkeeper in the end threw herself on a hand grenade. Garten, she had to too, because Warriors were waiting. That's a little bit better for the Warriors. That might give them a shot of confidence. Kayla Morrison, square ball away. The Lions want to work it clear. It's been interesting because you've, with the PFA, Kim, on, you're the first life member. You've gone on to do some amazing things. Now you're the man who does the job as Torre goes back for Scythopoulos. She lost it long first time to half field, takes an awkward bounce. Bulleen come up with it. And you're head of Footy Victoria, and here I am the same number of years later. I'm doing the same bloody thing as I was back then.
Well, we're all in the game, Greg, and I think the beauty of the game is the people you meet, the magical experiences the game gives you every single year, every single time, and it's really a part of the DNA, and I think that's what makes our culture so rich, so varied, and so alluring, because it welcomes all of us, and there's an opportunity for each one of us to find our role, and more often than not, it's alongside other people on the same mission. I think that's the thing we've shared over many, many years, and I see coming through in the next generation, and most strongly held with these young people that we're watching out here today, who not only love the game but have great ambition for the game and for themselves in the game.
That's beautifully put. No wonder you're the boss of Footy Victoria, Kim. That was lovely. And anybody that uses the word alluring in a football context doing really well. It's a 1-0 game. Bulleen lead it. They got the early strike. I reckon the Warriors, you get a feeling about a contest, don't you? It's intangible, but I think the Warriors have drawn breath and realised the consequence of that really poor defensive lapse as Paige Zoyce. She's only 17, is Paige Zoyce. The young girl's coming into the game. A big hit by the same player. It takes a cannon. Chasing back is Taylor Schneider. Scythopoulos tries to work it toward midfield. Neil Wise is covered. She drew a crowd, and the crowd won the day. Oh, she wins it back, though. That was terrific stuff. Determined. She wanted it more. So the Bulleen Lions, well, they come into this one. They lost their first 2 of the season, but since then they've been undefeated in 8 games. They've won 7. And the only hiccup was a draw at Calder. So they are well in the frame to play finals again. Won the grand final in 2018, as I recall. You're going to Google it, aren't you? Kim, I'll tell you to Royce, boss of Sydney Allen, the up and under. It's going to take a bounce. Foot race on between 3. Goalkeeper came for it. Oh, flag went up. It's that late flag. That's frustrating.
How do you feel about that, Greg? I mean, and as an observer over the game over the years, it still confounds me to this day.
I know. I don't understand the point of it, Kim. And what it does is that anticlimax that you get when a side produces something. There's a great moment, and of course the flag from 2 or 3 hours ago, and up it goes. But
in this case, the assistant referee was exactly right to the textbook. That's the technical training, and I think the debate is often, the function of that particular law.
Oh dear! So cheap turnover at the back, and the loft was almost on the money. Tiff Eliadis, the former South Melbourne player, she knows how to score a goal, and it just sat, and was in a squillometre of the woodwork at that Southern Road end, which is busy with commuters who, instead of shopping at the big shopping centre over there, they should be here watching a really engaging game of footy in the WNPL this afternoon. A lot at stake, particularly for Heidelberg, if they want to stay in the race this season. 11 minutes away, or a little over. And it's been, apart from the goal, Kim on Telidora, CEO of Footy Victoria, it's been a pretty good old game in beautiful conditions.
Conditions are superb. Not a breath of wind. A delightful winter's day in Melbourne. The sun's out, and the crispness of the air and the sound of the ball on leather. Greg, hey? Isn't that the magic? Isn't that the magic of it? And what percentage of your life would you have spent doing this, Greg? Do you think your adult life?
Oh dear, I have no. That was an alluring sort of buy into the conversation, Kim. That was beautiful. I've got nowhere to go. You're an artist. You're a poet. You're an artisan, Sydney Allen. Oh dear. So a big long launch from Keely Lockhart. She got the opening goal up at Bulleen earlier in the season. Warriors went ahead in that one. 3 goals in 15 minutes from Bulleen on either side of half-time. A late strike from Sydney Allen, so they got close. It was 3-2 on that occasion. Wasn't much in it. As Goodell's go first time upfield, nearly swept away by Ellie Torrey. That was great stuff, though, by Tyler Vlajnik. She's the Melbourne City player, as I believe. Rounding the corner was Eliada. She's been busy early, squares it up. Oh, look, the late hit. She came in and it went, well, it took a couple of splinters out, and Tash Stathopoulos has taken one of the Bulleen players out. So pretty spectacular stuff in this early going. Bulleen up by 1, might have been by 2. Unwanted wood. It's never what the doctor ordered in a big game, as this one is. Speaking of big games, and I just want to make this point. I'm not going to, because we had a bit of a chat about it during the week, come on, but people do know, younger people only know you as the head honcho of Footy Victoria, the faceless man at the top of the pile. But you're a hell of a player, Kim, and I'm not going to bang on about it, but I watched one. If you don't believe me, good folks at home, see if you can find on, Sydney Allen just backs out of trouble. The scooped ball into that right lane, it's ambitious and perhaps too ambitious in the end for Keely Lockhart, who had a look of disappointment on her face as she saw the ball skid over the line. Google on your Google thing, whatever they are, all the modern stuff. Come on, find the 1991 qualifying final between South Melbourne Hellas and Adelaide City. It was a magnificent game, a big crowd, the old Olympic Park, and Kim, on telly to us, I reckon that was your. Well, you played about 250 odd games in the NSL, but that was one of your best games. Do you recall? Let's just try you out here. Do you recall how good you were, Kim?
Yeah, I'd quite forgotten about that match. That's what happens with age, Greg. Unfortunately, my memory's not as vivid, but of course I can't ever remember not having a great game and being deserving of the 3 points. I felt that the commentators didn't have it. Oh dear. So it's Heidelberg, unfortunately, just turning over the ball there, but starting to settle into a nice rhythm. Just earlier, Sydney Allen, I think, turned on the ball nicely and then sprayed it wide to Keely, who and that's really, I think, probably the most likely route to goal for Heidelberg. That combination there, Keely, when the ball is at her feet and she's facing forward and has momentum, is almost impossible to stop. She has great strength and power and guile, and I think that's probably the most likely route to the goal for Heidelberg.
You talk about potential match winners, and Sydney Allen is certainly one of those, the roadrunner, but Bulleen too have their own set of game changers, and that's why they've maintained their place. 3 times in the last 4 years they've been to the playoffs, the Lions. So they've got a magnificent women's program as well. I do want to discuss, and won't right now, Kim, on, but the disparities, the haves and haves not in the competition. That's a really interesting one, and certainly a point of debate as Georgiopoulos turns it over. Lions ready to pounce. That's right across the face of goal and stabbed wide. Well, the cross came in from Lajnik and the far post.
Well, I just happen to know that player quite well. That's Cleo, my daughter, who placed it wide there for Heidelberg and avoided the dangerous situation. But once again, Heidelberg with good shape. But turning over the ball perhaps when really they should be looking to continue to move it around and from across the pitch for them to be able to create an opportunity to press forward. But they look to be settling quite well now, Greg, after that initial goal.
I wasn't going to mention Cleo until you did. I just thought, and Billy Pargas he's come up from the so. This is what happens. This is what happens when you're working alongside the CEO of Footy Victoria. This is good stuff. Thanks,
Bill told me he brings you a coffee every single time, Greg.
Lions battling for it. The acrobatic spin by Janchevsky turned away. She's another youngster with talent, Janchevsky. She's only 18. Warriors try to build from the back again. Lockhart, nowhere to go. Almost legged. Well, I tell you what, Goodell was determined to stop Lockhart. She couldn't do that, and the free kick's drawn. We've played around about 17 minutes, and the Lions lead it by 1. No Steph Galea, the inspirational skipper of the Warriors this afternoon, but Ellie Torre, the smiling assassin, doing the job. She is. Well, have you ever seen so much, determination? Oh, top stuff by the Warriors, Sydney Allen. Sorry, it wasn't Sydney Allen, but regardless, there's the big turnover again. And here they come on the move. Eliadis again, been so busy, top of the penalty area, tried to squeeze it off the toe of the right boot. She had runners coming into the penalty area. Warriors all clear. There she is. Ellie Torre, she's about 3 foot tall, and she's about... 2 stone wringing wet, but she just throws herself. Eliadis again, triple team, did a great step out of trouble. The right foot shot curls, but not enough at that Southern Road end on this sunbathed, beautiful winter afternoon. So elegantly described by the CEO of Football Victoria. Wait for his memoirs to come out. That'll be a page turner. Oh, come on! It's good to have you aboard. Yes.
Greg, the pitch has been relayed over the off season and is just in outstanding condition, isn't it? And I think it lends itself to a high quality, fast tempo football, doesn't it? And I've certainly seen the Heidelberg teams, all teams, try and play a nice, fluent, possession based game.
Are they coming? Oh, and Tash Stathopoulos didn't know a lot about that. It just went winging over her head. I reckon that's Tess Cernio.
Yeah. Tess Cernio, who for many of you would know heads up our competitions team at Football Victoria. She's responsible, her and her team are responsible for fixturing over 1,000 games a weekend, Greg. 1,000 games a weekend. You said you didn't have a drinking problem. But Tess is not only an outstanding sports administrator, but a fantastic leader on the pitch here for Bulleen, and that was a fine strike from distance, and I think probably into the sun, from what I can gather too. Wouldn't have been easy for Tash to save that one.
No, Cernio's got that experience, 100 plus games, and she was one of the veterans of the Team App Cup final way back in 2016. One of the 3 or 4 Bulleen players that were in the team that last lost to Heidelberg. That was a ripper afternoon up at Broady. It's been a long time between drinks for the Warriors, and now they're 2 down as the clearance comes from Kayla Morrison. She's been busy, as she always is. So looking down a fairly long barrel right now, the Warriors, we've played just on 20 minutes. I managed to tip a bottle of water on the team sheet, and now I've tipped a cup of coffee on it. So I'll tell you what, I can't be trusted driving home. Oh, bombed clear. But, look, did you see that collision? Now, that is what women's footy brings. I'm not suggesting that the collision, and I hope everybody comes out of it okay, but the commitment there, Tyler Dave Legenick and little teeny tiny Ellie Torre, there was not for a minute, they didn't flinch, they didn't think about it, and the body contact was significant.
Yeah, and I think for anyone who thinks that there isn't the same level of commitment and physicality in women's football, they'd be sadly mistaken. And that particular incident, fortunately, both players are back on their feet, and the referee will recommence with a drop ball. But I think it's also a fascinating part of the game, the way in which the physicality is used and the way in which it manifests itself in women's football. It's quite different to men's football. But definitely strategic, and the way in which the individuals apply themselves. Also the way in which technique is used. Typically, experienced players who've been playing for some time have a very good sense and balance and knowledge of their body and how to utilize it to best effect in the game. And that generally comes from experience in playing, experience at training, and as a general rule, players at this level have had sufficient time to do that and develop their skills and knowledge and the guile that's necessary to be able to beat an opponent or indeed compete for a 50-50 ball successfully.
You, Kim on Teledoris, is Eliadis, she with a skip and a hop, and she just belts it, rifles it. That is a magnificent strike from Tiff Eliadis. She knew exactly where I wanted to go, and with a rifle shot that left vapour trails into the back of the net, and it's 3-0 Lions and looking grim. That was a superb hit. And after 23 minutes, it's becoming a bit of an avalanche. The Warriors are down by 3-0. I'll put Kim Monteliadores, you're the philosopher of football now. You're a deep thinker. I love the way you talk about it. But how about that for a superb strike from Tiff Eliadis?
Outstanding strike, and I think Bulleen are just more decisive and purposeful in their front third, aren't they? On balance, I would suggest that the possession's probably been 50-50 up to this point, Greg, possibly 55-45 in favour of Bulleen, but they're 3 goals to the good, and that's because of their ability to press forward at a high tempo with intent, and even though they've scored 3, I think it's probably with they've had 4 or 5 chances as well, so they're in outstanding form and goal creating form.
Well, you can't argue with their string of results. As I mentioned, lost their first 2 of the season, but they've been on a significant roll ever since, and it continues here at Catalina Street this afternoon on, as you mentioned, Kim, was a beautiful service. The refurbished Olympic Village, it looks beautiful these days. Still got that sense of history about it. Godelge with the throw for Eliadis, who else? Godelge hooks it back into the hot spot. That was spectacular and acrobatic to pop the right boot at. That was Taylor Schneider, I think it was. And that was a heads-up play from Taylor Schneider, but right now, well, you wouldn't look, you can give me a wallet right now, Kim, and I still wouldn't back him with even your money right now. It's just not looking good, is it? But you never know, because like the men said, the NPL in Victoria, both the men and the women, we've had ripping seasons, both before and after the lockdown down here. I've got to say, it's been great stuff. Flag went up about 3 hours after the, Kim, and I've got a theory about this. I think the assistant referees, or the linesmen as we used to know, I think they lift weights, you see. They lift progressively heavier weights with that flag arm, just so it comes game day, it's boing straight up there, you know what I mean? It's you're agreeing with me, but
I think the other interesting thing about and the growth, the other pleasing area of growth is the number of female referees now in the game too, Greg, and that's both in quantity and quality. And that was a speculative strike from Keeley from out wide, and was low percentage magic. Yeah, once again Sydney out to Keeley, and they're capable of unlocking any defence. And at this stage, Heidelberg once again I think would like to try and get control of the football and maintain a degree of possession, and cycle it through their rotations if possible, but they certainly train that way, and at their best that's the way in which they've played throughout the season, Greg. Often very strong and competent in possession, and generally creating goal-scoring opportunities that have resulted in some fine results. But outside of that, this Bulleen side is supreme, certainly up until this point. And I think Jono on the bench for Heidelberg will be thinking about how he tactically tries to get his team back into this game, still early or midway through the first half.
Indeed, we've played 26, and Bulleen have made it all their own. They've cleaned house right now. They've scored 3. Eliadis, Cernio and Cassie Carmen got the match opener for the Lions. Heidelberg have not scored in 9 of their 14 or 13 games against Bulleen historically, and they've only scored 3 once. It was in a 3-3 draw a couple of years ago, so they've got plenty of work to do. It just tells me, though, too, how much they miss Steph Galea, an inspiration. Good ball threaded by the Roadrunner, pops upfield, flag goes up, and that was fair enough. That was fair enough. Wise was about the length of the Moonee Valley straight offside then. So that was clear as day. The Lions currently second on the ladder. Don't forget, of course, last night in the WNPL. It was called a 3-0 over Box Hill. So one other game this afternoon, South Melbourne, Alamein, and then FVE, Football Victoria emerging, take on Bayside tomorrow. And the Bayside, you know, we talk about the haves and haves not competition. What do we do to address that, Kimon, as Bulleen try to manoeuvre it out of the back half again? Goodell's over half field and off they go again. Trundling for it from the angle is the Melbourne City player. Well, they kept at bay temporarily anyway. But only to, oh no, Ellie was good then. She stuck the foot out. She won't give up the chase, Ellie Torre. Well, a bit of an arm wrestle, and in the end it spills Torre away. Lions have got the numbers though. Flaginic lofts it. Oh, Tastadopoulos had to come. The double finger tip away. And in the end, so the flag went up on that far side. What do we do about the, you know, we saw the demise of the once mighty Geelong Galaxy and Southern United, and the league reduced to 8. Now they're talking, well, the talk is, as I understand it, no relegation this year, 2 teams promoted, but there's still that, you know, that's still that elite, isn't there, in the women's competition? How can we address that? I'm asked that question consistently, and I really don't know the answer, and hopefully you've got something to best maybe remedy that.
Yeah, I you know, certainly from our perspective at Football Victoria, our objectives are to try and design and support competition structures that enable clubs and teams and players, referees to develop and achieve their potential. Our experience in general in the women's game, but also the men's game, it's not unique to the women's game. It's another attempted through ball there and a nice strike with the left foot just across the face of the goal, but I think Ellie had that well covered. Again, Bulleen looking very, very sharp, and that incisive through ball there, I think it was from Tiff again. She's having an incredible game today, Greg.
No, they look really sleek once they get it into that, getting that ball into the front third. It's creating opportunity after opportunity, so the pressure right now on the Warrior defence, but they're led ably by the acting captain, little Ellie Torre. She's so brave. I want to mention too, you know, you saw that physical contest before, and I won't go into great detail, but there's been studies done. The women are up off the deck twice as quickly as blokes when they go down in a game, and I think that's actually factual. And I'm not very bright, Kim. I'm not compared to you, but I'll tell you right now, that tells me everything you need to know about the women's game. They want to prove themselves as being, you know, tough and resilient as the Warriors go forward. Galloping over the tackle was, I'm not sure who that was, in fact. But
that was Bree. That was Bree over there on the left wing, just breaking down the left-hand side there.
You can do everything else.
No, mate, not at all. Not this is why you're such a great icon in the game, Greg, because of your great love and knowledge of the nuance that makes this game special, and the players, their personalities, and all that's associated with Sydney now on the ball. It takes a superb corner every single time. That was perfect. And just popping outside the box there. Flick, or Felicity, as I should say, strikes from, once again, speculative, not really likely to trouble a quality goalkeeper. But just returning to the earlier discussion we were having, in general, stable clubs that have a consistent methodology and philosophy and are generally the ones that prevail over time and most consistently. And that's been the challenge with some of those other women's clubs who grew quite quickly and then found it very difficult to maintain it, Greg.
Yeah, well, and we'll talk about this. We're really grateful, Kim, on the... Oh, look, spinning out of trouble in the end was Eliada. She's got one goal. She knows the game back to front, but on that time it just went ballooning away from the Southern Road End goal. It's been breached 3 times so far. Lions up by 3, and we've played 32 minutes in this one. But, you know, as we talked about, Kim, it's a great opportunity for people to get to know you, and get to know a little bit about how things are tracking at Football Victoria. And also, it's a great opportunity, and I really want to talk to you about this during the game and after the game, is promoting the women's game, because it deserves probably better than it gets. Lockhart, she beat about 5 tackles, but Bulleen come up with it. Good stuff by Keely Lockhart, though. And that was good stuff too by Shelby Green. So they're showing a bit of steel, the Warriors. Oh, robbed. From the blind side was Sydney Allen. Eliada's playing deep, just runs adjacent to the half line, squeezes it down that left lane. Bulleen come again. They're hungry, aren't they? Vociferous. Flanchnik, she's been busy, hooks it back upfield. Oh, gosh, she's been best on ground so far, Eliada's. Don't worry about that. She's been awesome. So they retain possession in that front third. Square ball, Eliada's playing almost a quarterback role in that front half. That time she hooks it across the body. Warriors manoeuvre it cleared. I'd love to get some Keely Lockhart. Well, she backed herself. Not that time. They're all just canted loose, and Lions come up with it. Good Elge. Spears it again down the line. Oh, I'm looking for the flag, but there's none. It could come in an hour or so. Flatchnik, little left footer into the penalty area, and bang from a distance. And that was Cernio, who got one from there about 10 or so minutes ago. They're up by 3. Cernio. Who else was there? Tiff Eliades, of course. And Casicama got the match opener as 3-0. And the CEO of Football Victoria. You know what's really interesting for me, and I've been around since the dark ages. I've been around since black and white television. But the interesting one is you hear people potting Football Victoria. They hear people potting you. And it's almost you hear it and you think, well, what are you actually talking about? Do you know what you're talking about? But it's just you're an easy target in the end, I think. As bursting through was Danielle Wise. She hooked it back into the penalty area. Too many Bulleen players. The pride of Lions waiting back there. They were prowling and waiting, and they punch it clear. Oh, foot races on Ellie. Somebody make the call for Ellie, because Eliades was coming in. In the end, the little pint-sized Warrior, she's a magnificent. She's got a big heart the size of Farlap. Better looking, of course, than Farlap. It was a horse, in case you didn't know. And out of play. Because I'm dated now, I'm carbon dated. I'll say things like Farlap, and people don't get the reference. Yeah. It's like, anyway, but I don't know where I was going.
Black Caviar?
Yes, Black Caviar.
Is is it a more recent one?
Yeah, look at it. I can remember 1956. I can't remember. But Lockhart. I tell you what, the last 5 or 10 minutes, Keely Lockhart's gone, bugger this. I'm going to take the game on. God bless her, the number 11, Ellie Torre with the throw, but there's a player down. And that's Kayla Morrison, the skipper, who she puts her body on the line. Just how do we promote the women's game? And just see what the referee. No, we're getting a restart. Ellie Torre. We're heading toward half time. We want to promote. There's some bold personalities out there, Kim. On how do we get them into the spotlight?
It's a challenge for us to ensure that we do. It's certainly at Football Victoria. That's our responsibility, to ensure that we're providing equal opportunity for boys and for girls to be able to play the game, and that has its great challenges, Greg. Currently, roughly about 18% of the registered players at Football Victoria are female, and that has grown quite significantly over the last few years. Last year certainly didn't help with the pandemic. It was a disruptor. The momentum for women's, girls and teams and clubs has been on the rise for quite some time, and that's a lovely through ball again by Sydney. And well done to the assistant referee there for getting that flag up.
I'll tell you right now, I have learned this year. I've actually befriended a couple of the referees, and they're actually nice people. I didn't realise till this year that they're actually human beings, and they're lovely.
Not only that, they're critical. They're critical to having a great game. Good refereeing, Greg, particularly early on, to set the mood, to control the environment. Experienced referees, knowledgeable referees, and those that have the respect of the players and their peers are able to do that. And we find time after time that where that's not the case in a match at most levels, it's to the detriment of the game. And so far, it's been a fantastic spectacle, and the referees have been right on their game, in control, nice sharp interventions when necessary, and the game is allowed to continue. I do agree with you. It's nice to see, and it's interesting to see when Keely does get the ball at her feet and what she's able to do. But at the moment, it's she's pretty well flying solo up there in that front third, isn't she? And even Danny's having to drop deep now to pick up the ball in an effort to bring the forward line into play. Challenging times for Heidelberg. 3-0's not. Three.
Still gettable.
It's not out of hand just yet. But certainly, I think Heidelberg would want to try and get one prior to half time, and I think then anything is possible, Greg.
They absolutely, Kim, on need a lifter, just as South Melbourne Hellas did against Adelaide City in the 91 qualifying final. Watch it and see. Interesting too, Kim. I won't draw you on that, but hasn't the game changed significantly in terms of what's allowed and what's not? Because you copped a couple of huge whacks, and it wasn't even a yellow card. We won't name the culprits, but they weren't. They were
Name them.
They were forthcoming. They battered you around. They really did. Ball to the top of the penalty area. Bulleen have all the answers at the moment. They're up by 3-0. Swinging its weights. Look, Ellie put her body in the way. Sydney Allen tries to race away from the challengers. Was beaten in the foot race by Flajnik, who's been really busy in his first half. Paige Joy, she was on the deck a minute ago. She's still injured. She's running gingerly, but she got up to contest the foot. See again. There's none of the histrionics. She could have stayed down, but the moment cometh the hour, cometh the woman. She had to stand up and do something, and that's what you got to love. They're as game as Ned Kelly, this mob. If you know who bloody Ned Kelly is, go and Google it, young'uns.
Yeah, well, I think they did. And do you think on that particular occasion, would Paige Zoyce have stayed down as our friend for the Italian team did when just prior to them scoring that first goal, Greg? Or would she have been straight up?
Oh, whackety whack. Kim Montalvo Tourist, the CEO of Footy Victoria, and we're really glad to have him. I was going to just mention before Keely Lockhart can chase this one down. She powers after it, top of the box, losing angle all the time. Lockhart, and what a great tackle. So timely and so perfect from Tyler Day. Tyler Day Flajnik, sorry. That was extraordinary then. She had no right to get that footy away from the feet of Keely Lockhart. The break away from the Warriors was good. They're backing Keely in because right now she's got the heart for the battle. Lockhart, get it? There's a bit of wordplay. Come on, stay with me on this. We've played, I think about 41 now. As Sydney Allen, the Roadrunner, makes a signal. Social Club end. It's into... toward the far post. Well, it's a mad scramble, hooked away by the Lions. Well, the contest is on. What I'm really pleased about, Kim, as we speak, coming into half-time, to keep it alive. I mean, Bulleen have been far superior in terms of their ability to slice the Warriors' defence open, but in terms of just contesting the game, the Warriors are well in this one still. FE coverage, round 14, game 10 of the season because of lockdown. So encouragement from that area anyway.
Yeah, they seem there or thereabouts, don't they, at this point in time? That's probably the best opportunity I think Heidelberg have been able to craft. And once again, it was a wide ball to Keely, which unlocked her speed and power. But my word, that tackle there was a goal saving tackle, and first class defending. Needs to be absolutely precise there with the timing and the accuracy. Otherwise, there's every chance in the penalty box that a penalty might ensue. So it was superb going forward and defending so far with Bulleen. I don't know where. I haven't yet been able to spot any weaknesses. Greg, Paige Zoyce is dominant in midfield. Tiff is enjoying her time. She's having an exceptionally fun time there in that front third.
Oh, yeah, and there she is on the footy. Looks in a class of her own this afternoon. It's been a masterclass from Eliadis. So after last night's game, South Melbourne, as you mentioned, they are just rolling right now. They have put the keys in the ignition, buffed up the chrome, and they are rolling like a hot rod. 27 points, Lions and Calder 22. Top four is made up. FV emerging, of course. So they're fourth. So that's the top four going into this afternoon's game. Two more games to come this weekend. And I'm going to make the point I was going to make before, Kim. I know it takes me a while sometimes. I'm a rambling old man. I can't even remember what I had for Pregame this morning. But I do remember they popped Kim Montelidora, CEO of Footy Victoria, for everything that goes wrong. It was no different back in 1980. George Wallace, who was the spokesperson, you remember old George from VSF, the Victorian Soccer Federation, he got copped the same. Didn't matter what happened. George Wallace, he's a bugger. He's wrecking things. It doesn't change very much. How do you feel taking the shots for everything as Torre just plays it out from the feet of Blajnik?
I think the challenge for us on an ongoing basis is to make as many good decisions as possible, and we certainly pride ourselves on trying to do that. On occasion, it proves not to be the case. The football market is such a complex and dynamic one. It's evolving all the time, particularly here in Victoria with such a strong culture, such a strong Victorian football culture. And the great challenge for us is to keep up with the ambition of our clubs and our players to the extent that they need us to, and it's we're operating from a base of limited resources as a sport relative to the other sports, and so we are more reliant on volunteers. We're more reliant on the generosity of benefactors and supporters to assist us, but still at the heart of it, the football administration bodies, Football Victoria, Football Australia and the other states, it's incumbent on us to make good decisions, to support the growth and development of the game. And we often, that can mean with short-term challenges, and that's perhaps the area where we really encounter the greatest feedback, inconsistent feedback, and we respect that because we are solely reliant on the generosity of our constituents and stakeholders.
And I must say, Kim Montelidora, as Sydney Allen runs a 90-degree wide circle, tried to pass two, didn't happen. The outside ball was looking for Lockhart, but Morrison just laconically stepped in the way and angled it back for a goalkeeper Garden. Yes, it behooves me to say, Kim, and I just find it really interesting that you were so keen and cooperative to join us this afternoon. I said, look, I'm going to ask you the hard questions. I'm going to probe you, Kim, and you said, no, that's no worries. So it's really gracious. Not only do we get to share a really good game of women's footy and seeing a class team like Bulleen in operation, but we also get to talk a little bit about the game, and you had no hesitation. So we're very grateful, and hopefully the viewers watching on FV coverage this fine and sunny and lustrous winter afternoon are enjoying Kimon's contribution as well. As we're into the depths of the first half. It's 3-0 Lions.
Thanks, Greg. It's my pleasure to be here, and thank you for the opportunity. A shout out to Jason as well, who for his support. The cameraman on this particular occasion, he gets in for free. Can you believe that? Hey, he gets in for free to shoot the game and bring this, and no coffee though. Sorry about that, Bill. Where are you? But I must say the streaming service that is provided by Football Victoria and the clubs, I think, is fabulous. It really brings the game into lounge rooms and even onto devices for people on the move, and I'm really grateful for the club's cooperation in doing that.
So the curtain is drawn on this first half. It's round 14 games in, and the Bulleen Lions, the arch enemy of Heidelberg United, have marched into Catalina Street and really, well, they've owned the Warriors' home turf. 3 first half goals. Cassie Carmen, Tiff Eliadis and Tessa Cernio, and they have, well, to some extent anyway, have owned the contest. Kim Montelidora, the CEO of Footy Victoria, has joined us and has been really open and really lyrical as well. When you write your you're a beautifully spoken young man, Kim on. You're a wordsmith. It's 3-0 at half time. Hopefully we can come back and get some more insights from the CEO of Football Victoria. Quick summary of the first half, though, and I want you to do it in that, in that beautifully poetic style of yours.
I'll do my very best, Greg, but unfortunately I only speak the one language, unlike most of our friends and colleagues in this beautiful game who have multiple, who are multilingual. But of course the one language we do speak is football, and I think the first half that we saw today saw a supreme football team in the Bulleen Lions at ease and in control. More often than not, they managed the tempo, they were decisive going forward, strong on the ball in the tackle, dominant in the midfield contests, and I think that enabled them to not only impose themselves on the game, but to convert that into goal-scoring opportunities and ultimately goals, Greg, which of course are the ultimate determinant in this whole game of ours. And so that was certainly the case, and deservedly ahead. The task for Heidelberg coming back out, I think, is once again, they did have some periods there where they were in control of the football. And so I think, once again, the opportunity to bring Keeley into the game, or Bridie on the left, to be able to service Cassie in the middle is really, Danny rather, sorry, in the middle is really the opportunity that Sydney can unlock for the Heidelberg Warriors. And I wish them the best in the second half, and I look forward to it. Thanks, Greg.
So at half-time, the Lions came packing heat, and they've opened both barrels on the Warriors. It's 3-0 at half-time. The visitors join us shortly for the second half. Plenty more footy to come. See you soon. Oh, yes. Well, there's all great people here at the WNPL. All the action this afternoon as the shadows lengthen across this refurbished Olympic Village, and the Bulleen Lions in this round 14 game. They own the contest right now. They're 3-0 up at the break, and they're heading toward the social club end of the ground. It was a dominant first half from the Lions. Courage, commitment and tenacity will only get you so far. The Warriors had plenty of that, but the class of the Bulleen Lions. Goals in the first half for Cernio and Tiff Eliadis, who's played a blinder, Cassie Carmen. So that's the score at half time. We're early going in the second half, and Kim Montelidoris, the Chief Executive Officer of Football Victoria, has joined, also a life member of the PFA, and the ball over the top was almost a beauty for Bonnie Davies, who's checked into the contest. I think we'll just check those substitutes. I've been too busy being captivated by Kim Montelidoris, former champion of the game, 250 odd NSL games, and very, very fondly remembered by South Melbourne Hellas fans because he played a key role there. He played about 100 games and scored nearly 50 goals. Not a real bad goal every other game. I don't mind wrapping him up because he is a football person before anything else. And Tash Stathopoulos nearly, well, that's going to be a penalty to the Lions. So that's a blow early in that second half. I'm not sure, it didn't look a little innocuous, but it is what it is, and it's a Bulleen penalty to start the second half, and this will drive a stake through the heart of the courageous Warriors, I suspect. It'll be Alana Yanchevsky who will have the responsibility against Tash Stathopoulos. Hands on hips she stands, looking a little aggrieved. So just as they did in the early in the first half, the Lions with the potential to strike, Yanchevsky sizes it up from the angle. Very short run up for Yanchevsky. Should take 3-4 steps, a skip and a hop, and bangs it home. Took Stathopoulos the wrong way, who just belts the ball away. She'll be discouraged, and it hasn't been entirely on her head this afternoon, but not by a long shot. The Warriors' defence looking disorganised at times. So it's a 4-0 game, and we've travelled only around about 120 seconds in the second half. I'm not going to call it yet, but I can hear the fat lady singing, Kim Montelidoris.
She's certainly warming up, Greg. And you know, that's an inopportune time for Heidelberg to concede a fourth, particularly having come so close to opening their account not 60 seconds earlier when Heidelberg broke forward and the ball just didn't fall for them to enable a strike on goal. But rather unfortunate for Tash. I think she's had a reasonable game. Of course, Bulleen have had countless scoring opportunities, and on this particular occasion, Rachel Quigley deserves some credit for recognising the opportunity, put some pressure on the keeper after her first touch just popped out away from her, and then pounced on the ball, and the resultant late tackle from Tash resulted in an excellent decision from the referee, who immediately called for the penalty. And 4-0 is I'm not aware of too many matches. In fact, and having been in the game for close to 40 odd years, Greg, I'm trying to think of a game where a team has come back from 4-0 down. Do you?
I recall, believe it or not, as Lockhart tried to run it round into that outside lane, which it just the body block and the Lions come up with it. Now, I am going to go out on a limb, but I recall a game at Olympic Park between Preston and Heidelberg in around about 1983. Somebody correct me, I'm probably wrong, but it'd be a hell of a comeback. There's no doubt about that. Oh, dear. I remember, I won't reminisce because I'll be doing it for hours. The Lions have been sleek and smooth like a well-oiled machine as Eliadis tried to draw a free kick. You won't even get a Tony Award for that. And they're not hard to get, come on, you know that. I've won several. Early going, second half, and that was Teliadoris. I want to do it. I have to do it. That was Cleo Teliadoris with the angled ball away. Look, let's just, elephant in the room, isn't it? But must be wonderful as a footy person yourself to see your daughter out there, 20 years of age, and just really finding her feet as a footballer with a great club as well. Oh, we'll just go with the play, because Keely Lockhart nearly stole the march, and it was only Kayla Morrison getting the foot in. Kim Monteliadoris with us, and his daughter Cleo playing this afternoon. I'm not sure it's just Cleo's involvement that you love for women's footy, but Cleo, you must be really, really proud when you watch her take the field in the gold and black, the famous gold and black.
Thank you, Greg. It really is a special for me to watch my daughter play, and particularly at such a famous club as this one. It just conjures up marvelous emotions, both for me and for my wife, who followed my career for many years, and of course also is from a football family. Her father was played at the old Juventus as well, so football's certainly in our DNA. And Cleo started to play at the age of 15, or 14. The 14Cs at Brighton Soccer Club, which I coached. So she's loving her time in the game, and it's fabulous. And Bulleen, once again, just so powerful and strong. Nice. Okay, Tess Cernio, good opportunity. Too many players. Nice finish. Look, to watch Bulleen play is a real privilege here, Greg. I think when they have the ball, their shape is excellent. The crispness of their passing, the ball speed is excellent. Their power and fitness is equally impressive, and they really are supreme at this point in time. Heidelberg outnumbered there with that lightning quick Bulleen break down the left-hand side, and in the end, who was that finish?
Well, that was Janchevsky again, the 18-year-old. She just turned 18, but she looks like a seasoned performer. That was an accomplished finish simply because it looked easy, but she had to keep her head. And that's a fifth goal to Bulleen. They are rolling, baby. The Lions are rolling, and right now I reckon South Melbourne will be looking over their shoulder and thinking, hang on, maybe we're not going to streak this competition after all, because the Lions are looking really sharp.
Yeah, they are, and it's a difficult period for Heidelberg now, being this far behind in a game, still early in the second half, and it's now where the club, the coach, and the players need to draw on their individual qualities of resilience and competitiveness. That's what's important for them to still salvage something from a game such as this. And Bulleen, once again, with the combinations coming out of defence, still looking to play the ball crisply and break through the lines that Heidelberg have when pressing forward there in their efforts to win the ball in the Bulleen half.
Well, they have made a couple of changes. I noticed too, little Maxine de Blasi, the number 33 for the Warriors, into the team at half-time. She's only 16 years of age, so they're shifting the deck chairs a bit and giving a few players a run this afternoon in this second half. The worry, you would never know this, Kim, on, because you played for good teams. I'm just trying to remember, so you were South Melbourne, you went to Sydney Olympic, you played with Marconi, they were a super team as well, and then Parramatta Power, they had a couple of good seasons. So you played with, Collingwood, that didn't end well, but it started well. Collingwood, of course, with affiliations with Heidelberg, but the point of the matter is you get to a point in the season, don't you, when if you're standing on the platform, it drops away. You realise where you are as a team, and all of a sudden you can get overrun, and you don't want the Warriors, who are now going to fall 3 games outside the top 4, for the bottom to drop out. That, I thought she was out of play. It doesn't matter. They angled it in perfectly. I reckon it hit the staunchion. You don't want the Warriors just get overrun now. Earlier in the season, when they're up and running, 3-2 at Bulleen, and they weren't too far away that day. But right now, they are being torn apart by the Lions, and hopefully they can shore up the fairly porous defence and get something out of the game. But you wonder what they are going to get and I'll stay with you, Cameron, if I may, because Lions have got the footy back deep in their own back half. The COVID thing last year and this year. Now, you as the boss of Footy Victoria, you've had to literally oversee the whole thing during unprecedented times, during events that hopefully we'll never see again as the ball runs out of play at that social club in Kimon. How has that, in terms of the staff at Football Victoria and yourself, you've had to cope with a massive whack, haven't you?
Yes, that had an enormous impact on us as an organisation and on our sport. But of course, I think we're still feeling the aftershocks here in Melbourne, in Victoria, from that lengthy lockdown last year. I still sense it in the community, and we most certainly are anxious about, more lockdowns. We've had a couple of, smaller ones this year, of course, right at the start of the season, and then more recently. Fortunately, it hasn't resulted in significant changes to our fixturing and to our competitions, but I feel for our brothers and sisters in New South Wales at the moment who are experiencing similar anxiety. And once again, Bulleen winning possession as Heidelberg tried to play it out, and their shape is just superb. They really have the fulcrum in the middle there. Tiff has been strong. Page was particularly strong in the first half as well. They're outstanding players, and then the speed and pace and power on the flanks really provides them with some dynamism, and really they've had the supply today, and as a result of that, I think they've been rather comfortable. Tess Cernio, I think too, is playing further in a more advanced position as a number 10, and I think is helping pressure the Heidelberg defence once again, who have this time broken the press, finding Sydney, and then Keeley looking to try and get the ball forward to Danny, the number 9, who's been a really prolific goal scorer for Heidelberg this year and is actually an outstanding talent, but unfortunately really hasn't had a lot of opportunity here. On the other hand, Rachel quickly for Bulleen has ensured that she's a part of action very early on, and she's a fabulous player as well. Just enables the club to play with some structure, with a number 9 who's able to hold the ball up and bring others into play. It really enables teams to be able to control the tempo, manage the cycles, and dominate possession for long periods.
And the Lions, you suspect, as they trundle forward again, that's Taranto, hooks it back. It wasn't, in fact. That's Taranto in the number 16. She runs a wide arc toward the corner flag. Social club end, right lane. Stamped it to the feet of Yanchevsky. He's got a couple of goals early in this second half. Taranto sees the gap, sees the far post run of Quigley. Just too long for her out of play, not quite. They are absolutely, they're like sharks in the water, circling. They've tasted blood and they want more. The Lions, they are on a roll. You don't need a Senate hearing to tell you that this team is going to be there or thereabouts in 2021, the mighty Lions. Taranto rifles that one in, pummeled away, only half cleared. Sydney's first at the football, angled it wide left. Oh, great slide in from Faselska. And again, Heidelberg just there bailing water out of the rowboat at the moment. Speaking of, not the rowboat, out of the gondola. Out there at the Veneno Club, they'll be drinking champagne out of the gondola tonight. It's been a champagne performance from these mighty Lions. Oh, it is a great strike. It was on target from Yanchevsky. It's just palmed down by Tash Stethopoulos, who's just got to draw breath and realise that regardless of the scoreline, she's a really accomplished young goalkeeper. Just compose yourself and understand it's one stop at a time. It's a 5-0 game. The Lions lead it. And, well, the Warriors, is that what do you take from a game like this? It hasn't been a drubbing on it. It's been a consistent throbbing of a machine. It hasn't come in a wave. They've scored goals every 10, 15 minutes or so. Bulleen, they do enough through midfield. It was Lockhart. That was offside anyway, so it didn't really matter. Straight back to Gabriella Garden. So Yeah, it wasn't too often you, Kim, on played in sides that were demoralised. That's the kid, de Blasi, and Warriors try and work it out of that back third. I had some really good input about you being on board. Whoa, see, another big hit. And look, it's brutal, but you love the way they go about. No apologies, and they're straight up, and they get on with the play. And that's what you like about the women. It's like they've got a point to prove, and they do prove it over and over again, their commitment to football and their team. Warriors making another change. We'll go to that in a minute. In fact, we won't. So I reckon Cleo might be getting a rest, and E.T., Ellen Turner, will launch herself into the contest. So can Ellen Turner make a difference? Can she turn the game to some degree? But yeah, that physical contest again, Kim, I love that. And the other, they just spring up. You know, there's no histrionics, there's no rolling on the ground, there's no holding their head or waiting for the physio. And that is something that really strikes me about the women's game. It's round 14 this afternoon, just to recap. Lions 5-0 up, and they're doing it on the bit. But yeah, that physical part of the game is impressive.
Yeah, and it's very rare that I see the level of cynicism in the tackling in the women's game that I do see in men's elite football. That particular tackle from Ellie was the ball first, and the ball and the player in that, which is actually the perfect tackle. Bulleen again, once this time a switch from the left, and another great goal. Yeah, look. This is textbook football. Caitlin Friend out at Bulleen is doing marvelous things. Clearly, in the staggered start to the season, they were still working on their formations, their fitness. They now really have a momentum that's grown. It's grown, and it's certainly a concern for the other teams in the competition. On this particular occasion, once again, although Bulleen are controlling the tempo, this was a break from sort of within their own half, switch from the left-hand side over to the right, which unlocked the Alana, I think it was, who was able to then knock across to Rachel Quigley, who finished it. And just superb two-touch, high-intensity movement of player and ball. And it's a pleasure to watch a good side in good form, and notwithstanding the fact this is terribly difficult for Heidelberg, of course, but it's an outstanding team here in action, and a fine example of the best football, women's football in Victoria at this stage.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Bulleen have shown us some polish today, and that was Jancheski. She's owned the second half. She scored a couple, and she set that one up. She's not bad for an 18-year-old. Not bad is underselling it. She's terrific. For Skalska, for Bulleen. Oh, Eliadis. She drew two and she eased it away. Second possession. Here they go. Look, working it clear under extreme duress. Launching after it was Alana Byrne, who's coming to the game. So a few changes to both sides. So can the Warriors rally to some degree? So just trundling over half field was Ellen Turner. The Lions came from every direction. Quigley looks up. The outside ball is good. Lions again, they create so masterfully. That staunching in the grandstand is annoying. Can somebody knock it down? We've played around 65, and it's what do you need? It's like a cricket score at the moment. So 1-2, 6-0, is it? Not really bad for the Lions, and I suspect this will be their best ever against the Warriors, and it might rank up there with their best ever scores in the WNPL. You would not have expected the Warriors to get swept away so convincingly this afternoon on a beautiful sunny winter afternoon, and that was lazy by Turner, and she just looks away. Now you're starting to see that the spirits drop just a little bit. Come on, it's you don't want them to get whacked around too much because it can really sap your confidence. Heidelberg have got to host FV Emerging next week, and that won't be easy. They're in the top 4 and they can play a bit for the Lions, who are on a, what is it, that it'll be a 9-game undefeated streak. It'll be 8 wins and 1 draw. So next week they are, holy moly, they're at South Melbourne next week. That'll be right now with Bulleen in this sort of form, that'll be a beauty as they go to South Melbourne next week.
Well, for anyone that's interested in seeing the best young players playing at the highest level in Victoria, get along to that match. In fact, get those tickets now, and of course it is free entry for anyone who's attending NPLW matches at Lakeside. And it's at Lakeside or Bulleen, Greg? Okay, so I think it's certainly we'll confirm that for you shortly, but it really would encourage anyone who's keen to see the best of what we have in Victoria at this point in time attending that match. And of course, quietly we hear that after Calder's result last night, there's a sign that they're getting back into some sort of form. So I'm really looking forward to the closing third of this particular season. As for Heidelberg, the challenge for them now is to still find something constructive to get out of this game. Yeah, just to confirm there, thanks very much, Greg. South are hosting Bulleen at Lakeside 3:30 on Saturday next week. That'll be a fabulous match.
Kim, on your boss of FV, let's call it, you and I, again. No.
Well, that'll be a great privilege. Unfortunately, I think we'll have our best commentators on that one there, Greg, so you might get a run, but and that's the other thing too that is fabulous about our NPL coverage, the quality of the commentary that we now bring to these games, Greg, across the span of games, men and women. The camera work by our professionals like Jason.
Jason's blushing again. He loves that.
Well, it's just fabulous to be able to have people such as Jason who love to support the game and are prepared to bring their expertise and knowledge. It's tremendous for our game to be able to do that across the multiple videographers and commentators that we have, and of course, this is the health and vitality of the game at that level. As we return to the game unfolding in front of us, the pictures, of course, will be telling you a lot about what's happening here. Bulleen in the ascendancy, comfortable, and picking apart Heidelberg with intent. But Rachel quickly on the turn there with a nice strike with her left boot, and hooked forward, hopefully by Heidelberg, to try and break out from this incredibly intense pressure from this Bulleen side. Good to see Grace Taranto playing again after overcoming a challenging injury last year. She's a fabulous talent and also has a tremendous future, and it's a joy to watch her play as well. Tiff's playing a little bit deeper now, it would appear. She's possibly more of a 6 or an 8. In the first half, she was mainly a 10 and was actually decisive in Bulleen's dominance in that first half.
And that dominance has continued in this second. It's a 6-0 games to Thopolis. Rifles it upfield, but they come again. The Lions. And Eliadis, well, good stop. Now that's better from Tash Tathopoulos. That was affirmative. She just rolled to her left and grasped it and drew it in. Terrific stuff from a quality finisher from Tiff Eliadis, former South Melbourne player. She'll be down there in the not the Lions den, in fact, the South Melbourne's den next weekend. That's just going to be a blockbuster. They got slaughtered by South earlier in the year, but I suspect in this mood, the Lions have got a fair old chance of putting together a big performance. Sydney Allen, that was most un-Sydney Allen-like. And she was shaping to shoot, wasn't she? Byrne, I think it is. Lana Byrne, no, nothing doing. And Warriors away. And, kamikaze stuff. and she's straight up again. They cop a whack and off they go. It's been a terrific afternoon, and again, the privilege has been to sit alongside Kim Monteliadorus, but also allow sometimes the faceless, the voiceless and the faceless people that are, really in charge of the game. As the Lions make another substitution, out of the game goes Tyler Flanchnik, and I think the new player on is Roger. I think it might be the new player on, but I'll double check that. But just for people to understand, Kim, you have a terrific background both in business and in admin, but as a player as well. So football, as you mentioned before, and it's got a lovely bloodline and all those ties to the game. And so the next time, listen, I'll tell you what, the next time somebody has a crack at you, I'll just give them a whack right in the schnoz. That'll be it.
Well, the diversity of opinion is something that we enjoy about the game too, isn't it, Greg? I mean, there's no shortage of perspectives, and often multiple perspectives from the same person at any point in time, and that also makes it challenging to be able to carry an argument. But I just wanted to take the opportunity also to talk about our match officials today, Greg. I was just looking at the team sheet here, and of course, Terry Constandalos is the referee, but how's this, Greg? The two assistant referees and the fourth official are all Manions. So Monique and Angelique are on the respective assistant referees, and the fourth official is Alexandra. So that's once again another fabulous football family, all officiating in the same game here at this marvellous historical facility here in Heidelberg.
Oh, I tell you what, when you run for politics, my friend, you've already got my vote, come on. you are.
There's just no politics in football, unfortunately, Greg, otherwise it would be perfect.
You're perfectly elegant, and yes, the match officials, there's a lovely sort of French flavour about that. What is it? Rue de la Catalina. That's where we are this afternoon. There's some beautiful French names in there. It's a 6-0 game, and it's all over Red Rover. The fat lady's not singing. She's actually packed it in and got in the car and gone home. So the Warriors are again have to walk away from this one. Bulleen, by the way, just take note, on Tuesday night they've got their Nike FC Cup fixture. It's a home game against Melbourne University. That's the quarterfinals of that knockout cup. So it's exciting times for the Bulleen Lions, and probably a good time for the coach, Caitlin Friend, to run a few players off the bench this afternoon and keep some of the guns, some of the jets for Tuesday night, and then the big match up, the blockbuster against South Melbourne. Because right now this one's, you can frank this one, it's in the books. Sydney Allen did well to step through some trouble, but right now they're having trouble launching it anywhere into the drop zone for the Warriors. It must be frustrating. Jono Clemente, they love him here. He's had a big rap, but right now he's got some work to do quickly. The outside ball, Bulleen into Warrior territory. Oh dear, what a nasty giveaway. Quigley in the hot spot. The Warriors swarm, they force it away. Referee's going to bring it back. It was a free kick called, I don't know what for, Kim, but I think they'll be grateful for that. They'll just breathe a sigh of relief, the Warriors. We played, holy moly, I'm not a mathematician, around about 34 minutes of this second half. It's a 6-0 romp. It's a 6-0 party for the Bulleen Lions as they go on their merry way on this undefeated run.
Yeah, nice step over there from Taylor to avoid the press. But once again, unfortunately, Heidelberg turning the ball over around about the halfway, getting into that front third, and well, certainly as far as their structure is concerned, once the ball gets in there, it's been very difficult for them to retain possession, and as a result, if turnovers occur, and that puts the defence immediately under pressure, and Ellie trying to slip a through ball there to Bonnie, but was captured. And here we are, Keeley finally having some real estate in front of her at full speed, and she's gone to the byline, and of course covered off there quite well by the Bulleen defence, and resulting in a corner. I think it's the first one for this half, and maybe an opportunity for Heidelberg to find something.
Yeah, absolutely. Come on, down at that Southern Road end, it's still teeming with afternoon traffic here in Melbourne. Sydney Allen, she's an absolute jet on her day. It hasn't been her day today. The road runner, Allen, back spinner to the top of the box. It eludes everyone, flies into open space. There's a little Flahopolis that's charged down. They're going to turn it over. It might land for Quigley perfectly. She angles the ball outside for the runner. You see Carmen. She squares it in. And that was wasted. They're usually pretty smooth going forward. So the 16-year-old clears it. Maxine de Blasi. Great foot race, great chase from Bonnie Davies, the Tasmanian. Had a few Taswegians coming through the women's squad in recent years at the Warriors. It's going to be Ellen Turner to take it. Bounces it for Taylor Schneider. She's overwhelmed. She'll get another look at it though. Schneider toe pokes at top of the box for Danielle Wise. That was so hit and miss from her. She's usually much better. They're finishing. She'll get another look. Kayla Morrison. What a game from the skipper of Bulleen. She's just been powerful, imperious, if you will, at the back, like Steve Blair.
Yeah, she's been fabulous, and once again snuffing out a half chance for Heidelberg. A quality central defender really is imperative for a side to be competitive over the course of a season, and also to present itself for winning honours at the end of a season. A strong defence is ultimately, usually, more often than not, necessary to be winning titles, and Bulleen have certainly demonstrated they have that here tonight.
Garten, she arched her back and pulled the footy in, so late on in this one, it's all over the lines. I reckon now we'll go clear second again. They'll draw to within 2 points of South Melbourne, but bear in mind South Melbourne hosting Alamein today, and the other game to come, FV emerging, play it down. We're getting that late afternoon sun. It's been pleasant all day, Kim on, but right now it's below the grandstand roof and above the tree line, and if you want your irises burnt out, just have a look straight into that one. It's a shocker. It's a 6-0 game. The Lions they are in a rich vein of form, and Quigley, Little, I think that was the substitute. Alana Little. I can't see a thing going up that end right now. I hope the cameraman, Jason's enjoying it. The up and under ball. Garten was about a mile out of her penalty area. She read it early, came thundering out and cleared it. They've got all the answers. They look all right. They really, really do. The Bulleen Lions. Again, they're patient. They go round the cape with the build-up, waiting for support. Well, that's a good challenge. Keely Lockhart against...
Emily, I think it was.
Yes, it was de Blasi. Good spot, Kim on. You're good at this stuff. I like working with you. And you're the Chief Executive Officer of... Who was... Hey, just while we've got you, I've always wondered about this. As we go late into the game. Now, you had a really extensive career. I argue with people about this, but I will still... and we won't labour on the men's game, but I always thought Paul Trimboli was the best player I ever saw in Australia in the domestic competition. Who was the best player you played alongside?
Well, I played alongside some great players. Trimmers certainly was one, and a great leader too, an intelligent footballer and a driven winner, and a delightful man, of course, to boot. And I don't think they make them like that anymore. He's almost his entire career with South Melbourne. His first season, of course, with that breakout season with Sunshine George Cross, and in fact, that's another lovely, expansive move from Bulleen from deep in their right back position, the number 2 position, right across to the left wing, to which the ball just slightly out of reach on that particular occasion. But Bulleen are really stroking the ball around with aplomb and with marvelous control. Very much a pleasure to watch. And once again, unfortunately, when Heidelberg do pick up the ball, their inability to string multiple passes together has really cost them today. Every time that's happened, Bulleen have been able to counter-attack and have been devastating in so doing. And pleasingly, though, I think Taylor tonight has started to push up a little bit more in the second half, and Heidelberg are at least enjoying a little bit more possession in the opponent's half, but unfortunately not any sustained possession, and I think that'll be something for Jonathan Clemente to work on during the week. Great run by Keeley right through the heart of the defence. We talked about her being the one chance, the best chance for Heidelberg to be able to breach the Bulleen defence, and that was a typical marauding run from her, but the shot on the left was safely into Gabby's hands, and now the ball's of course up at the other end.
Well, very late in proceedings, heading towards stoppage time in the second half. It's a 6-0 game. Keeley Locker, what I've loved about Keeley this afternoon, Kevin, is the fact is when you know that the teamwork's breaking down, when you know that emotions are sagging, she's just prepared to take the game on as an individual. She said, okay, well, I'll just have a crack myself. But right now, this is, you don't need a Senate hearing to realise and decide that Bulleen are in it for real. They've scored 6 this afternoon. They're doing it on the bit now in this late afternoon sunshine. It's round 14, but game 10 of the women's season. So lots of catch-up to come. Bulleen hosted the Warriors in the very last game before Melbourne's last lockdown, and that was the 3-2 game. And hasn't the landscape changed since then, because it's a 6-0 game, and conceivably it could have been more. The Warriors they're sagging at the moment, if you will. They're sagging a little bit, and they've got a lot of rebuilding to do even in terms of the emotions that they're feeling. This will hurt them, Kimmel.
Yeah, particularly after last week's result against South. It was 7. What are we now at? We're at 6. So we're still at 6. I think we are. And challenging times for the club. It's always a test of resilience and character under difficult circumstances, and for the club, the leadership, the players and the coaching staff, it's the most important time for them to be able to find and reconnect and get that purpose, that common purpose again, and find often it's the culture and the values that can enable those stakeholders to come together again and provide the foundation for the club to rise and meet the challenges of this level. But Rachel quickly, I think, is just demonstrating why she's so highly regarded. As I mentioned, players play her feet with confidence, knowing that more often than not she can hold the ball up. Oh, and that's a lovely break down the left-hand side. Again, from Bulleen and Morrison getting that far forward. I think perhaps she's...
Well, it's party time, Kim, on. There's 6-0 up, and we've got about... there'll be very little time left. Didn't see the fourth official, but I reckon we're close to stoppage time. They'll get the corner. It's 6-0. I think this will rank right up there. I think they're top 2 or 3 all-time record wins. 7-0 against Bayside. That was one of their better. And I recall when I was reading the stats last night, the corner, quickly, it sits in the air. Header from... And that was that Kayla? It was. Well, the skipper's gone, no, well, I'm having a bit of this. There's no show without punch. So the skipper's getting up there, wants to be a part of this. Why wouldn't you line up to get on the score sheet on a red-letter day for the Lions? They've been irrepressible. They've put the squeeze on the Warriors, and they've scored 3 in the first half, 3 in the second half. It's been a really convincing performance. Don't forget, Lions have got Nike FC quarterfinals. Can the Warriors strike back? Not quite, as Helen Turner is upended by the Bulleen defender, who just stood her ground. I had one more. You know, I asked a couple of people. I said, Kimon's coming on Saturday, and they gave a few people said, I've got this question. They had so much more to ask you, Kimon Taliadoris, and you've done really well. I think you're going to get out of jail because a couple of them are really curly ones. It's a 6-0.
Thank goodness it's only a 90-minute game, Greg.
No, it's been thoroughly engaging and really interesting and really lovely that you've come down from. Yes, I know that meet is going to make a whole lot. No, but they're beautiful human beings. I know you've got to be on the spot, but I don't think it's making much difference in the context of this game right now. Oh dear.
And it does. We can pause for comment about the officials, and I think any opportunity to talk about them, Greg, is a good one. But here again, the turnover in midfield from Grace Taranto.
Look out. Quigley's on the run. She'll be offside if Taranto plays it to her. Doesn't really matter again. I suspect... I've only got this... See this old digital clock? This is a classic. They're going to be selling this on eBay. Nobody does these anymore.
I'm not sure they will, Greg. I'm not sure they will. They may sell them, but will anyone buy them?
My Camry is going to be a vintage car very shortly. So, oh dear, Garton away. So, yeah, bearing in mind the Lions have got the... quarter-final against Melbourne University, and it's at the Veneto Club on Tuesday night, and then they go to South Melbourne next weekend. Warriors have got to draw breath, come away, so they've been pantsed 2 weeks in a row. It's really disheartening. Jono Clemente, he's a really upbeat sort of guy. Steph Galea, the skipper, to come back, and she's an inspiration. She's sorely missed. Don't worry about that. Nimble feet, and the delivery then from, I think it was E.T. was terrible, to be honest. It wasn't E.T. In fact, it was Bonnie Davies. She was disappointed too. Tired. They look tired now. They look tired, and when you're playing against a massive tidal wave, that's how you're going to feel too.
Yeah, I think at times Bonnie's looked terrific. She certainly has speed and an ability to beat her direct opponent. Hasn't had much opportunity in this particular game, and Heidelberg now, I think when Taylor does have the ball at her feet, as she did on that occasion, she's generally an important player for them, and a way in which Heidelberg then sort of look to build and go forward. But today the passes haven't been finding their target at the speed and frequency that's necessary for them to be able to compete successfully with a team the calibre of Bulleen, and it isn't a good opportunity to acknowledge the work that the Caitlin Friend has done with this squad. They've recruited early in the season very well. They're incredibly fit. They're organised. The patterns of play, clinical. The depth of the squad is strong. And we talk about success and sustained success, Greg, that's an example of a club that is building into the season and is intending to be competing both at the Nike Cup final as well as the NPLW finals towards the end of the season. And, of course, a number of these players have W League experience, and a number will be looking to carve out another opportunity at that level over the summer at the W League level. And I have no doubt that the coaches for Melbourne City and Victory will be watching this game online, and of course getting out to South Melbourne next week to watch the two finest clubs battle it out at Lakeside.
No, the Lions, sleek, polished, and absolutely relentless this afternoon here at Catalina Street. The afternoon's turning to early evening, and the birds are in that beautiful tree-lined backdrop to Catalina Street. It's a great view if you're a Bulleen supporter, because right now they are rolling like a well-oiled machine, and there may be one more in it. The up and under over the top, Quigley, and Quigley was cheeky, and Quigley has made it 7. She's buried it Holy moly, what a finish from Quigley. That was a beauty, the up and under ball. She waited and pounced and then almost arrogantly just looped it into that far top corner. And, wow, that was the assist from Alana Byrne, just pointing it out. That was as smooth as silk. Are the Warriors disheartened to that point, or are Bulleen just clinically good?
Yes to both, Greg. But for any young players there watching, please rewind when you get the chance, or watch the superb first touch from Byrne, the pivot, and then her through ball, and then the delightful finish. That is the highest quality football. And in fact, it's amongst the highest of the quality we've seen today. And boy, have we seen! We've had an absolute avalanche of quality from this Bulleen side. Just an absolute pleasure to watch. And I suppose it's difficult for Heidelberg to finish this game and try and take something from it. But most certainly, every result like this, and particularly a couple of them, do provide an opportunity for a club to get to just reconnect with their purpose and their planning. And that's, I imagine, what will be happening with Heidelberg. The talented coach, certainly very young, but he's committed to his craft. He's demonstrated he's willing to learn. He's ambitious. The playing squad here, in my experience, and certainly from my observations, have that in equal abundance. And of course, at times like this, particularly up against the good sides, having the best players available is important. And I think Heidelberg do miss Steph. She's an outstanding individual, and of course a great leader and captain. And the other key personality missing from this group is Maisels, and they're two leaders and two experienced heads, which, you know, in these sorts of circumstances generally have greater value. And so the rest of the Heidelberg players come under extreme pressure, which has been the case today. And unfortunately for Heidelberg, Bulleen have converted almost most of their chances. And hence we have the current situation that we have, and quickly maybe even have a second half hat trick, which would be well deserved. But once again, Heidelberg this time, okay, that's really the game plan there. Get the ball into the 9's feet, hold it up, play to Sydney Allen as the 10, and then look to build on that. And okay, that was the first time we've probably really seen it today, where the textbook move that would have been practiced at training and would have been at the heart of Jono's game plan was executed. So that's encouraging for Heidelberg at the very least.
People will walk away from this afternoon. They've been sitting on their devices or whatever they do this stuff on, and I'll say that Kim Montelidoris, I'll tell you what, he knows his stuff. I'm glad he's captaining the Football Victoria ship. If we're ever hitting an ice bank, we know who to go to, you know. Just Captain Telidorus. Here's the comparison. Right now, the Warriors, as the up and under, the flag went up, so it won't count. Warriors, consistent, as they have been all year. They were 3-3 coming into this one. They're consistent. They're like Mike Camry, but you don't race it against a Ferrari. And right now, this Bulleen side is a gleaming claret Ferrari, and they will be facing off against, well, the other. What's another really good car? I only know Ferrari.
Well, if you were talking about South Melbourne, I'm not aware of a lot of Greek car manufacturers, but well, that brings festivities here for Bulleen to a close, Greg.
You never would have expected Kim Montelidoris to see that, but it's been a right old shellacking the Bulleen Lions, bringing a class of football that it's not unexpected, but gee whiz, they were on show this afternoon against Heidelberg, who didn't give a squeak in the end. It was a 7-0 game, believe it or not. 3-0 at half-time, 4-0. Tess Cernio got one. Rebecca Quigley, second half, got a couple. Alana Janchevsky got a couple. Who else? Tiff Eliadis is... I'm trying to read through my scrawl here. I've spilt 3 kinds of drink on the sheet. But it's a 7-0 win to the Bulleen Lions, right up there with some of their best of all time. And the monkey on the back of the Warriors, which has been Bulleen for, 5 years, just climbed a little higher, grabbed a little harder around the throat, because it's now 14 games in succession that the Warriors have been able to climb over
Now, isn't it?
It's as big as me too, and I tell you, I've stacked on the pounds. It's a 7-0 game as we close it down, and just a final sort of, that's really good. It was really good for a minute.
We can thank our statistician Jason there for that information. Bulleen 22 shots on goal, I think it was, and thank you for the. Here we are. 22 shots, total shots.
Yep.
13 on target. Well, it's not a bad conversion rate. 7 out of 13, wasn't it? Corners, of course. Heidelberg had a couple in the first half, didn't convert. It was a good game. It was a good, clean game. Only a few free kicks, I think, awarded. A couple of offsides. No yellow cards or red cards, but boy, were there some robust challenges, Greg. It was an outstanding contest. Yep. But really, the quality, the consistency, and the skill, and the professionalism of that Bulleen outfit.
Yep.
I think we can be pretty sure that they will be playing finals football.
Yep.
As for Heidelberg, well, they're going to have to try and fight for that third or fourth spot if it's at all available for them. So it's not too late. How the challenge for this great club, of course, is how they now respond, what it means for individuals, how it challenges this young coach in bringing his team to